You know, when you're facing financial trouble and the phone starts ringing, you're afraid to pick it up, you don't know what to do. When you find out, due to no fault of your own, the house you're in is worth $100,000 less than you owe on it, or $50,000 less. You can't refinance it even if you wanted to keep it. What do? So many people just walk away, go into foreclosure, or they do a bankruptcy when they really don't have a lot of other debt. They just want to get out of the home. That's when I met Relogic and we started talking about this. Relogic, they have a system that is so great. And Bridget Nielsen is Vice President of Sales with Relogic, and we'll talk about this. And Henry Tidwell is a recent client, and I asked them, could we talk to a client? Because I always hear about the good that you do. We get emails, we get letters, but I wanted to talk to someone straight up. So before we even talk to you, Bridget, if you don't mind, I'd like to go directly to you. Short sales, people are so confused about it. First of all, you should never have to pay for it, never pay up front for it, and never pay for it, because if they do it the right way, they can make money on the short sale with the lender, okay? So Henry, how did you find out about Relogic?
Listening to your show, Tom.
My radio show?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, you heard me give the number, and one thing I said was they'll handle it all. What did you have to do?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
They did everything. I had to pick up the phone and make the call.
You were facing foreclosure.
I was.
Okay, how much was owed on that house?
The house was appraised at $305,000. I owed a little more than $250 and just saw no way out.
Yeah. And there was no way you could sell the house for $300,000.
No possible way.
And in fact, there are so many people who say, I'm not upside down. And it turns out they really are, because when you consider commissions and selling, they're way upside down. And also, appraisals don't always tell the truth in an area when you actually go to sell something. Now, when you called them, and how long did it take for them to get back to you to start the process?
About 15 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
I was on the freeway, Tom, listening to your show. I picked up my cell phone, made the call. They called me before I got home.
And you started the process?
Started the process.
Any deficiency?
None whatsoever.
Were you behind in your payments?
I was. I was way behind in my payments.
Way behind, nowhere to go, couldn't refinance,
Nothing.
And they got the home sold.
Yes.
How long did it take from beginning to end?
A little less than 2 months. A little less than 2 months.
See, think about that. I mean, you couldn't do that if you put it on the market. And you could, even with a legit sale, I mean, a really big, a lot of equity, you couldn't sell a house that fast.
Couldn't have.
In less than 2 months, you're out of it with no deficiency.
No deficiency.
And no tax consequences, 99% of the time, because of the Mortgage Relief Act, unless you have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity, or it's a commercial property. But most of your clients never pay, never have to worry about taxes.
And I think, too, Henry also tried a loan mod prior to this, and the pain and agony of that.
It was miserable. I was about ready to tear my hair out.
And here's the thing, Bridget. People can buy a house again after a short sale. There are some programs for people, if they were current on their mortgage and the only black mark against them is the short sale, they can buy a home like that and downsize.
Sure, and I think, the difference between having a short sale on your credit report versus the foreclosure, it's just huge.
Yes.
Just a huge difference.
Yeah.
And, you said it earlier, if I were to lose my job today, I'd have to sell my home. It's my biggest expense. And I, like many people, got caught in a bad real estate market and economy.
Of course.
So then I go to, some people just resign to the fact that they have to foreclose.
Right.
And they don't have to. Foreclosure or short sales are better for the homeowner, for the community, and for the lenders.
And you work for the consumer, but there's no long-term contract. If they're unhappy with you, you say, please, there's no obligation. There's nothing holding you. No money up front, not a dime. You didn't pay a dime.
Not a penny.
Not a penny. And so many of these rip-offs want money up front on the internet. You probably researched some of those, didn't you?
I had several calls. I had some contracts with some companies, and they wanted money up front. $2,000-3,000 up front.
Okay, so it's a 17-step process. That may sound overwhelming, but the good news is, Henry, you didn't have to do it. They do it, the 17-step. What is involved quickly in those steps?
Sure. In the 17-step process, we analyzed for months on how to do it the most efficient and effective ways. And then we it's just like a machine. It just goes.
Exactly.
You can't do step 3 without 1 and 2 being done.
Because you know all the people to get in touch with.
You bet. You bet. And, we're so different than a traditional real estate firm. Traditional real estate agents do traditional homes. We only do short sales. If I wanted to list my sister's house, normally I couldn't. We only focus on short sales.
And here's what I want to tell you, one of their secrets. They put bids in, or they have a way of getting bids in right away to get the process going. So it's not an empty promise like, oh, let's list it and see what we get.
Correct.
You put a bid in, so when you call a lender, they know you're talking turkey.
Absolutely, and that's what starts the process. The longest part of the process is getting the lender to come back with a agreed upon price.
Exactly.
And we start that immediately.
Okay, so they deal with all kinds of lenders, by the way, not just one or two, but all
Hundreds,
of them?
all of them.
Private lenders even?
You bet.
Okay, and by the way, many times deficiencies are waived, especially now because lenders are starting to come around. Also, not many tax implications unless you're talking about commercial property because of the Mortgage Relief Act. Relogic, here's how you get in touch with them. 303-551-9000. 303-551-9000. Now, you can find them online, relogic.com. There's a lot of information on there, so you might want to go there. It's R-E, like in real estate, R-E, then Logic, 303-551-9000. You notice that little on and off switch? They like to say you restart your future with them, 303-551-9000.
All right, Tom, we know you are a busy guy, so it is not easy to get some one-on-one time with him.